Okay. Oops. And this is something every good teacher does, is that they want to instill as much information to their students as possible in a short amount of time. And so sometimes we like, guys, we need to get this information, so our wait times get shorter, and we're less willing to put up with stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And then, so in response to that, and it's tough, I'm not saying it's, going to happen overnight.
Right.
Is to just stand back and say, okay, we're not moving on until you're quiet. Until I have all eyes on me, everyone's paying attention. If you have to put pencils down and shut books,
And that's today.
And that's hard.
That's today how I felt, where I was like, we need to wait. And then I kept like, why are we still waiting?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's been like 3 minutes and I'm still waiting.
Yeah, and again, using the signals, even this one.
I didn't do that today. I don't know why, because I did it all last week.
Right.
So I was like...
It's just like, again, you think, oh, well, they don't need that. Well, obviously they still do.
No.
And they need that refocusing, and they need that reminding. And they need to know that if I'm going to talk, she's going to make me stop. And that's, again, it's hard to do, especially when we have so much content to try and get through.
Yeah.
But, and that's one thing I've been noticing, even just myself, and I've been teaching for 15 years, especially with these group of kids, that if they get off task just a little bit, it's like a slippery slope.
It really is.
You have to like make sure that you put those stoppers on the hill, otherwise they're going to roll right down. And once they're rolling, it's very hard to get them to stop.
Yeah.
So once they get off task, you're like, okay, I'm going to wait till everybody is on me. We're not going to go on to the next problem. Shut your turn your papers over, because we don't have everybody listening.
Yeah.
Okay. And wait. And it's really hard to do. It really is. To get them back into focus and say, okay, now that I have everyone's attention, now that you know that this is what my expectations are, we're going to go through this, but we're going to go through it in a organized manner, so that everybody gets the information, right? And putting it up on the board was great, but you had several kids in different places at the same time.
Yeah.
So not everyone was even ready for what you had on the board, and some people had been sitting there waiting for it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was tough.
That one because there was one point, I think I did stop because I didn't want to move on because somebody had a question about the article or something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, we're going to go back. We're going to talk about it because it can get very confusing.
Yep.
And then, and then we did have some kids that were just, they were done. And I was like, that's almost what I was expecting them to be able to do. Was like, look at the example, and that's why I talked about, punctuation is so important. Make sure you look at where the periods are and this and that. And then being able to pull that information, though, is harder. And so for some of them, they can do it, and they figured it out. And then the whole slippery slope. But then, and then having them in different places, I was...
So my suggestion for that would be, and again, you want to differentiate, but on something like this, it's probably better that they're all together. Yeah. And then give them like something separate, independent, that they don't have to, come back for. Okay. Because I know that you say, okay, guys, you do this one, and then we're going to go check it. So you give them, I'd say, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Yeah. All right. And if you're done, just wait patiently, because they can wait. Those that get done early.
Okay, that's what I should have said then. I need to reference that for those early finishers.
Right. On something like this. There are other times when you want to give them something that they can
most of the time that's what I want to do. But then today I was like, for some reason I really was not thinking that they were going to be so different on this one. I was like, I don't know, this will be a breeze.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, we did this once before. So that's why I figured they would at least remember something.
And have like a familiarity with it. Of like, oh, okay, it looks familiar. I know I can get it. Whereas today I felt like it was more like, I'm not getting it, and I'm not gonna get it. Yeah. And I was like, why? Yeah. It's not.
We're not that difficult. It's not.
Yeah. Follow the steps.
This is not creativity. This is copying things down from one place to the other, just putting them in the right spots. Yeah. And they're having a hard time doing that because they don't. For some reason, there's this mental.
That's what I felt today. A super mental block with it, and I was like, all right, how do we get past this? Like, whoa.
So that's when, I just said, okay, let's do the first one. Everybody just do the first one. Okay, write down what you think, talk about it with your partners, and then look up here. Okay. We're only going to do the first one. you know?
Okay.
And then,
You really break it down.
And then you could go over those, remember, unknowns and periods and cities, you know.
With they came up and then everyone was everywhere, so.
That way you could focus on those questions. All right, everybody, now we're going to talk about number 2. You know, or whatever, and then only do number 2. I know some of you may finish in a couple minutes, but maybe help your group members, or you know, kind of help people with it if you get done early.
Okay.
And then because what was happening, and you saw this, I know you did, is that we had some kids who were like finished with most of it, and then you put the thing on the board, and they're already on number 3. They have to go back to number whatever it was that you're doing on the board and go, oh, I didn't do that one right, and now my total brain is now totally off track because I was doing the magazine. Now we're back to the book, which is a little bit different, you know. So maybe just saying, okay, I only want you to do number 3, and if you're done, help your teammates, and I'll give you 5 minutes. That way, there was a time frame. Yeah. And those kids that never got it because they didn't get number 1. Yeah. You put it on the board, and they may have copied it down, but they didn't. I mean, they were just so lost. Yeah. Yeah. So and I'm like, I'm trying to watch.
I didn't even think about it because when I used to do this, we used books and we used magazines and we used so we had examples of that all the time. And I was like, oh my God, you guys don't even know what these are.
Yeah. We're also dealing with that generation. Yeah. Technological.
And I didn't think about that last night at all when I was looking up all the different,
and that's fine because they need to think about that.
Because those are online though too. Yeah. Like they could be getting their information from a newspaper and have no idea. And from an article. And it's like, hey, well, you need to know what journal that article is from. You can't just pull an article and be like, well, it's an article. Like, I get that, but where did the article come from?
Yeah, and they don't know that. Because all of this stuff has been digitized. We don't have newspapers in the homes anymore, or very few.
Very few, yeah.
You know, and if they are in the homes, they're not reading them at all. Or they're not seeing people read them.
This was a big 21st century
eye-opener
for me. I was like, oh God.
Even the encyclopedias, which I got rid of at the beginning of the year because they were like 1989. Because they had so much inaccurate information. Yeah. But I didn't even think about maybe keeping them around just as an example of this is how we used to get information, by the way. Yeah. You know, and I didn't even think about that, but I'm like, they're gone now. But it's true, they don't know magazines. Very few. So if a child has a magazine in their house, it's probably something their moms or dads read. They don't really look at them. They don't understand they come in different months or there's different issues or that kind of stuff. And very few informational. A lot of it is like McCall's or Cosmopolitan or things that
17 magazine.
Really, you don't really get information from. Right. They're like we're asking them to do. So it is and it's going to get worse. So just,
No, it totally is. And then, so I'm thinking to better that, it's almost like it needs to be like an online activity. Like, okay, where everyone, but what's hard is controlling where they're all at the same time if they're on their own computers. So that would be another toughie.
So maybe just creating a web quest.
Yeah.
For something like that.
Yeah. That would be a way more valuable. Way more valuable for them. That's a good idea.
So that's just something to think about and just understand where they are. So it wasn't a total.
No, yeah. It was just definitely more frustrating than I thought it was going to be.
Well, and this is what this is what we need to do so that you can see how do we deal with these situations when they arise. If they don't ever arise, then you don't have any.
Right. You can't be perfect all the time.
Right. So, but it is good, and it's good for me too to see where some of these kids are at. And I mean that's why I ended up taking 100 balls. I should have taken it.
Good. No, that was
because although I understand the